Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're building a friend his first gaming PC. Well, it's more of a friend, but yeah, we're building him his first gaming PC. He's coming from Xbox, as obviously it's just a way forward now, let's be honest. But here are all our parts. It's going to be more of an overhead kind of view of us building it. No crazy angles and whatnot, but we will just talk through as we're building it. We'll talk about the parts we're using. So less highlighty, less montagey, and more just straight to the action and why we chose everything we've got. Anyway, let's get on with the video. Right, let's kick things off with the motherboard and the base of the system. This is the MSI Mag B550 Tomahawk Max Wi-Fi. It is a really nice looking board, to be honest. I will put on screen prices, or like how much he paid for them at the time. Everything was purchased off Amazon. He wanted Wi-Fi and he wanted to make sure I had Bluetooth as well. He did ask me if he should just buy a Wi-Fi and a Bluetooth dongles, but I know people that's had issues with them, and he is using a Bluetooth headset, so we don't want any Bluetooth related issues. So I said to him, just spend a bit extra and get a motherboard that does have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So let's open it up and see what the motherboard looks like. It's one of them higher end B550s for definite. It's actually a really nice looking board, to be honest. Yeah, 4 DIMM slots, 2 slots for M.2s. So yeah, 2 slots at the front for M.2s. Good VRM coverage. It's honestly just a decent board. Yeah, built-in I/O, rear I/O. So we've got one USB Type C, which is nice to see. No pun intended there, guys. So yeah, USB-C. I guess that's USB 3.2 or these are as well. So yeah, we've got 5 USBs, USB-A's, and then a Type C, Ethernet, and obviously we will have the antennas that come out the back for the Wi-Fi as well. But yeah, I mean, as you guys know, when we're building our budget PCs on the channel, normally the motherboards we're using for them budget M4 systems are, you know, lacking a lot of features. Even things like 3-pin 5V RGB. This motherboard's got it. A lot of the B450s we use don't. We do have 3 system fan headers. I don't know if there's another one around here. Oh, we've got 4 actually. So 4 system fan headers. 5 I've seen. So yeah, 5 headers for fans, which is honestly plenty. You know, you can max out your case with like 9 different fans and have them all grouped into 5 different areas. You know, bottom exhaust, bottom intake, rear exhaust, etc. But yeah, that's the motherboard we went with. It's got all the bells and whistles he needs, and it looks really nice as well. For the CPU, we've gone with, as you can see, it's Ryzen 5000. We went with the 5600. Now, not the X version. Actually, I will remind you guys, do you remember we built a PC for one of my friends? This person is one of his best friends. So actually, this system is going to be very, very similar to his system. In fact, pretty much identical, but we will go over why we've done that. But we went with the 5600 instead of the X version this time. And like I said, everything will be on screen for pricing. Really good CPU list. It honestly it does kick ass, especially for the price that you can get it at. I don't think there's really many other options. You could get an i5 12400F, but yeah, really nice little CPU list. 6 cores, 12 threads, and we could enable PBO with a bit of a curve optimizer and give us a bit more power and performance. So really good solid CPU. Next we move on to what's cooling the CPU. This is the ID Cooling SE214XT Plus. So it is a dual fan model. It's got a nice sleek black to it. No RGB on it, but it's going to look really nice, especially with that motherboard. I think that motherboard is going to look sick. So yeah, it's obviously quite a budget cooler, but honestly you do not need to spend a lot of money on these coolers nowadays. As some of you may know, you can get Thermalright ones for as low as like £15. I think I got one here that I picked up the other day. You can't see it because the stickers covered it, but yeah, Assassin X120 Refined. This was like £15, so yeah, you don't need to spend a lot for a good cooler, and that's why we went with this one. It looks reliable, and it's a dual fan model. Right, for RAM, you don't need anything fancy for DDR4 as long as it's like 3200 megahertz, 3600 megahertz if you really want to, but we went with 32 gigabytes this time. Obviously I did say to him you only need 16 gigabytes, but having 32 gigabytes is that sweet spot, and that way he doesn't have to add more RAM later on. He's mainly going to be gaming, no video editing or anything that requires a lot of RAM, but 32 would be plenty for him. And for our storage, Crucial P3 Plus, as you guys know, I absolutely love this drive. This is a 1 terabyte, and like I said, everything we got is off Amazon. As you guys know, I've used these in the past. I got them really cheap at one point off AliExpress. Just can't get them that cheap now, but really solid drives, good speed up to 5000 megabytes a second. Gen 4 obviously, so yeah, this would be perfect. For the power supply, MSI Mag A650BN, 650 watt unit, 80 plus bronze. So yeah, it's going to be absolutely perfect. 648 watts on the 12 volt rail. It's going to be fine. Even with our graphics card, you will see our graphics card is a fairly power hungry card, but it'd be fine, especially with the 5600 only being a 65 watt TDP CPU. It's going to be fine with that power supply. And now for the graphics card, RX 7700 XT. The reason we went for this was because it was £360 on Amazon, reduced down from like 400 or something. Compared to a 4060, it does beat it. We've got 12 gigabytes of VRAM as well, so he'd be able to, you know, max out most settings and play comfortably without being limited by the VRAM. I just think this is a great card. As you guys know as well on the channel, people comment, you know, what's the best graphics card for Fortnite or blah blah, and I always tell you Nvidia. If you mainly play Fortnite and you mainly play on performance mode, you're a competitive Fortnite player, then sometimes you can have issues with AMD cards just not performing as good as their equal counterparts from Nvidia. So that's why I recommend Nvidia to people that are Fortnite grinders, you know, that want to play on performance mode. If you just play a bunch of different games, you don't really play Fortnite, go ahead, go get AMD. Price to performance is amazing on them. As I said, £360 for this card. My friend who I built the PC for about a month or two ago now, I chose this card for him as well. Once again, it was one of them things. He was like, should I get a 4060? I said, yeah, it's alright, but where'd you go from 4060? You know, you look at the 4070s, they still sell second hand for like 450. At least here in the UK. I sold mine for around that, and it cost me $550 brand new a year and a bit ago. So, you know, you can get a 4060, maybe you spend a bit more and get a 4060 Ti, but even then I believe the RX 7700 XT does outperform that card. And then also for the case, I don't know if I'll be able to show you because it's quite a big box and I am in a wardrobe, guys. Maybe you could hit the like button, maybe subscribe, and maybe one day we could have our own room to do all this stuff instead of our wardrobe. I'm feeling like Harry Potter out here. Actually, he was under the stairs, but that's not the point. Anyway, so for the case, we will, I'll show you separately with some separate footage. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's start building this PC. Right, let's start with the CPU installation. So, even though it's new, let's just make sure it all looks okay. The blurry camera's not doing me justice, but it all looks okay on the CPU. And just make sure everything looks visibly okay here as well. Nothing looks damaged, which it doesn't. It's rare for that to happen. But we're going to line the triangle up with the one on the board. And there we go, CPU is installed. Right, let's get the RAM installed now as well. very basic looking RAM kit, but it'll do the job. 3200 megahertz, CL16. So pretty standard speeds and timings, but it'd be perfectly fine for this. Now for some thermal paste. And if you guys build a lot of PCs, I bought these off Amazon. I'll put a link in the description for them. But they were like £7 for both these tubes, and I've had them for months and months. Like, it's really good. Right, well, that took a lot more force than I'd normally need to, but it is on. Sometimes that can happen. I know someone in the last video did not like the fact that I was not tightening these evenly at all. So we'll do it a bit better today, just to make everyone happy. Cool, looking good so far. Make sure it's fairly level. I do prefer it when they have a back fan that's kind of reversed, but can't always get what you want. And as I said earlier, you probably won't see this side very well anyway. So just like that, the motherboard, CPU, RAM, SSD and cooler, which is, it does look like a nice beefy cooler, so it should be a really good little cooler for this 5600. But the motherboard and all that is done, so now we just pop this into the case and not much less really. Right, this is the case we've gone for. It's an Ions case. I will just put on screen what model it is. It was a fairly budget case, however it's a fish tank style case. It actually looks pretty nice. It's got this little screen on it as well. I think this case was only £65, which includes 3 ARGB fans. I know you can see me in the reflection, but we'll take the glass off in a sec. But I did see in the comments or the reviews of this case, a lot of people were getting a model that didn't have that on there, and I was like, hopefully he does get the one that we've ordered, and he has. So it's got little, I think that's only for your temperatures, so we'll have to see how that's all connected. But decent little case. Front IO, power button. Oh, that's like a temp button. That's weird. I guess that's how you activate it. It's got 2 USB 3 ports. Doesn't have USB Type C on the front, and obviously the motherboard, which I will just show you, it does have a USB-C header for the front, but that's not a big issue. If he needs to plug one in, he can plug it into the back of the motherboard. But let's just take the side panel off. Right, so, and I am sorry that this part of the video is wobbly and everything, but this is how we had the phone connected above us, and it's just easy if I hold it now. But yeah, pretty nice fish tank style case. Yeah, it looks like these are infinity mirror fans as well, and the motherboard is good enough. It actually does have the 3-pin 5-volt connector, so we can connect it up and we'll install signal RGB for him, show him how to use that. But yeah, this is the case we're going with, and overall for a budget case, it's pretty solid. Alright, so let's install the motherboard. I'll just place it here. It's a little bit awkward for me. This part I'm working on is a little bit high actually. We've got the fan cables getting in the way over there. But yeah, apart from the bad lighting, looks really good. Alright, power supply next. Like I said, MSI mag, 650 watt A650BN, decent power supply. It has two 6+2 pin PCIe cables. It's honestly one of the better choices for the budget power supplies. I think you can get this for about £50. Right, that's all good. I'll just push these out this way for now, and we'll kind of cable manage them in a little bit. Install the power supply. If you're installing the power supply at the bottom in a case like this, make sure the fan is pointing underneath, because that's where the mesh is. That's where it's going to get airflow from and stay cool. And it's charged as well, so that's good. We can use our electric screwdriver, which I got off Amazon for like, I don't actually know how much. It was a really good price. It's a Works one, in case you're wondering. Just use our long one because it's almost like perfect for everything, every screw. Right, cable management is all done. A lot of it we just shoved under into the hard drive tray because we don't need that at the moment. And there is this little LCD kind of screen on the case which shows the temp and everything. For some reason it wasn't working except ambient temperatures. I did install the software and it was quite clearly recognising the CPU and GPU temps, but for some reason on the case it wasn't working, which was a bit of a shame. His storage, he'd probably just put a new one in there, or I'd do that for him. But yeah, decent-ish cable management, looks better than my own PC. The only thing is these fans are currently set up as exhaust, and we want these to be intake and then rear exhaust. So we're going to have to flip them, but I didn't think of that. Well, I did, and then I forgot. And then I realised I've just done all the cable management, so hopefully we can flip these without having to cut zip ties. Alright guys, graphics card next. Let's push this back so you can just see. So the Gigabyte RX 7700 XT. It's a really nice looking card, and it's going to fit perfectly into this build. It looks really nice actually. This PC is going to be sick, he's going to be so happy with it. Well, at least I hope so. It wouldn't be good if he wasn't. But if this was my first PC, I'd be pretty happy with it. Alright, so the PC turned out pretty amazing. We went ahead and updated everything for him. All drivers, updated the BIOS as well for him. We even enabled Precision Boost Overdrive, XMP, and we ran some stress tests to make sure it was all stable and all was good. Yeah, it looks amazing. I really like fish tank style cases anyway, and I think this build has turned out pretty amazing, and I think he's going to be really happy with it. And there is this little LCD kind of screen on the case which shows the temps and everything. For some reason it wasn't working except ambient temperatures. I did install the software and it was quite clearly recognizing the CPU and GPU temps, but for some reason on the case it wasn't working, which was a bit of a shame. Now moving on to the games we tested, the first we tested was Marvel Rivals, and we played I think on like an ultra preset with no upscaling, and we were seeing about an average of about 85 FPS, which is pretty amazing really. I mean, most people would probably adjust some settings, have them on low and some on high, and we could probably get higher FPS if we optimize our settings a bit, but even on ultra it ran absolutely amazing. Next for Cyberpunk 2077, now we tested this at the Ultra preset and we did have FSR, I believe quality on, which you'll see on screen on the left hand side, and then we had no upscaling on the right hand side, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what it looks like and how much of a difference it's really going to make. But honestly, I think it runs amazing. Cyberpunk 2077 is a fairly demanding game, and the fact we're running it at pretty high settings is great. It's what's kind of expected from these specs. The RX 7700 XT is actually a really good GPU, and especially for the price. We also tested Monster Hunter Wilds, and we tested this on the Ultra preset, and we did have FSR and frame gen enabled on the right hand side preset, on the right hand side benchmark. But even without no upscaling or frame gen, it still run pretty good, especially considering this is pretty high settings. But it's crazy to see how much difference there is with frame gen and FSR on. However, these can definitely impact the quality or the visuals quite a lot. So it's preference really whether you have upscaling and frame gen on, or whether you like to run your games at native with no upscaling. Next was Black Myth Wukong, which does force upscaling, so we had to put FSR on. But on the right hand side you will see we did have frame gen on. The really weird thing about this setting in Black Myth Wukong is it's in Chinese, so for ages I was like, I don't really know what it is, but I just switched over and that was frame gen being turned on. But frame gen definitely made a massive difference in this game as well. But either way, with no frame gen it still run really well. Now for GTA 5 Enhanced, we played a very high preset and we didn't have any RT on or anything. I don't know how well that actually works on AMD cards, or if it does at all. I've never really tested it. But either way, very high settings, averaging around 150 FPS. It's really solid. Obviously the Enhanced edition of GTA 5 has been optimized to run even better, but it's still nice to see quite high FPS numbers in this game. But overall, that's going to be it for the video, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think of this PC. And anyway, I'll catch you all soon.